interesting update somewhat, and in the form of covering what responses come from this mother of mine here on Tuesday, the 10th of October. We left off here prior, where we were covering these texts, and in fact, just after this, I had added originally on that date, which happened to be yesterday, writing to her simply stating, quote, I also find it to be the case, as should go without saying, in addition to everything that was just said heretofore, that you clearly owe a substantial apology. All right, well, the very next morning, here we are on the 10th, she writes, Hi, and let's consider really both the overall tone within which this is being delivered, by which this is being delivered, as well as the contents of the message and their implications. Hi, I want the best for you always. Wow, amazing. It's almost disarming. Now, of course, does a single message like this on its own reverse all the years of mistreatment and abuse? No. When we look at people who operate with apparently narcissistic style of tendencies and traits, is seeing one thing like this indicative that the whole underlying problem is forever removed? No. But it's one tiny small step in the direction where 10,000 consecutive and consistent steps without fail or any trouble of any kind along the way would need to happen before substantial shifts can take place. But it goes on to state, I want the best for you always. Please understand this. You know what? Two statements, two sentences now. Not bad. If she could do this for 3 years in a row straight without any problems, then we can believe that the person is more likely than not atoning with genuine sincerity. Maybe. You see, that would be the hard part. And then maybe within a few years' time, such a person as her could earn the full forgiveness. As we understand forgiveness now to properly mean, given everything we've discussed in the prior ChatGPT videos. She goes on to say, it's your well-being that is very important. Good, I hope so. What constitutes well-being? It's not just spiritual or physical or even just emotional in the general vague sense. It means my dignity is regarded correctly by the people who are around me. Very important. She goes on to say, the answers will be done this weekend. No more delays. Good. That is one thing that's concrete. Then we will see it and expect it to be so. And then if there's not, there will be the natural issue that comes from that. But let's give her the chance. Once again, she continues on, regarding my medical issues, you should have all the tests done here. Since you need the diagnosis, in other words, she wonders, why do you have to go to India? Lady, you don't understand. I've tried everything, and I've hired people, and then they themselves became unworkable. Crazy side story that'll need to be covered on a separate set of YouTube videos or whatever else. Uh, but if she had read the 100 pages that I sent her regarding the issue, she would have a better idea of exactly how difficult it is to connect the matter with the sensibility of any single radiologist around me. Moreover, even though I speak kind of nice and make some sense here and there, it's still extremely hard to... You can't see through the microphone here. It's extremely hard to manage my life with brain damage. I can think and speak. I can't even carry out physically in an orderly way. It's very hard to describe. It's very... Unless you're attached to me at the hip and you're watching me, then you kind of get it. You're like, oh, this guy's not okay, actually. You don't know. Okay? We'll just leave it at that. There's other problems. For now. She goes on to say, well, more work needs to be done to get the tests you want. I agree. I don't have anyone helping me. Wouldn't turn to this person here, this mother of mine, for help because, among many reasons, she's in moral default, and furthermore, I don't trust her because she's just not effective and she's not trustworthy. She betrayed my trust multiple times and in some of the most extreme ways that is considerable to happen in any circumstance between a mother and a son. Continue on. She says, I know it's hard, but everything could be done if you get the right person who understands the importance of it. Yeah, it's been years, so if someone can get a team for me and help me out with that, I need finances and all that to get a team together. to help me, and people who aren't retarded, essentially. We continue. This is my opinion. Not bad, right? We furthermore say, did I get a referral from my own personal primary care physician for a neurologist? Okay, I don't need, see, here we go. You're not, it doesn't matter for you. I don't need to discuss these things with you. And even if I did or didn't, here's what some people don't seem to understand. I don't need a referral to a neurologist. Some of the best people I've spoken to, where they're smart in their scientific fields and they're like some of the leading researchers within their fields, happen to be family members of some former friends of mine now. They were spoken to about this, and she said, "Oh, this is a very complex case, it seems. Just from the very brief summary I heard, probably I recommend go see a neurologist." Yeah, I figured that part out already, and I've seen neurologists. It doesn't actually work. It doesn't help. You don't go to a neurologist for something like this. You go to a neurologist, and then they write you the same script that any other doctor, including my own primary care doctor, is writing for the MRI. So that aspect of it, trust me, I've done all the thinking and heavy analysis on this with high receptor density. And trust me, I know what I'm talking about. It's not the neurologist. It's the radiologist who needs to be talked to and convinced of something. I go to a neurologist, I wait weeks, and then they're just going to say, "Oh, wow, crazy story. Okay, here's a referral for imaging and radiology. Go and come back if they give you a scan that shows something positive." That's it. So again, people trying to manage or steer me in the right direction, you don't even know what the hell the right direction is. Don't trust your own thoughts. Don't trust your own eyes. You don't know what you're talking about. Don't rely on your idea of what should and shouldn't happen. It's not good enough. You don't know. Stop it. Next. Regarding the selling of her house, well, she doesn't say that selling her own house is not an option, but she says it's the last option of options that she would consider. Well, let it be, but if it continues to impact the health and living quality and experience of our family, such a policy decision, then she is karmically responsible for such a thing. In essence, that's her choice. We continue. I made my position clear anyway, and other family members did too, interestingly enough. That should be the fat hint. Regardless, we'll see. Proceeding on. She's trying to get some extra work, a day or two to cover her own expenses for now, or presumably the family's expenses in general. We'll see. Here's where things get interesting. Now, this is a surprisingly nice tone, right? See, finally, as is successfully demonstrated, you have to show what the boundaries and what the consequences are, and you have to be firm, and this is what gets people to, more often than not, substantially change in their tone. It's the only thing that works, kids. That's it. However, you're going to see that even though the tone has changed, she became slightly more respectful in her demeanor, slightly, such that, no longer, you wouldn't block somebody for something like this. Nevertheless, it's not so clear yet. It's not so cut and dry or easy. You go on to see. Here we go. She says, "Well, look, once you understand my position, then you will clearly see really what needs to be done in order to improve our relationship." As if to imply by that statement that it's still somehow me here, or, all of us in this hypothetical, metaphorical, and hopefully eventually one day soon very real and substantial audience. What we're understanding here is that, no, we're all missing something, you see? We're all missing something. The moral rules that we think apply, oh no, those don't apply. It's some other imaginated thing she felt up and made up in her feelings. That's the real God that we were supposed to be worshiping all along. No, guys, that's not it. No, Barbara, that's not it. That's not what it is, but she thinks so. So, whatever, this is just a nonsense position. It's not the worst. Wouldn't call that offensive to the point that she needs to be blocked, but this is her getting close to that borderline, and she's staying on the discussion side of it rather than on the flagrant offending your dignity way further side of that line. So we'll read on. She just simply says, because let's consider this last statement carefully. Apology, as she says, apology is an option too. to the wrongdoer. At first, when you first look at that, and I first glimpsed at that, I was thinking, wow, she says that apology is an option for her as well, for her to make? Oh, wow. Then I looked at this. No, look at this in context. First, once we understand her position, then we'll see what needs to be done to improve the relationship. As if she somehow keeps the special rules on what that is. We, us moralists, don't even understand these things, and us religious theologian types, us highly advanced, oh, we don't know nothing. It's her idea. She's the God-chosen prophet, right? Who has the new rules for humanity. So she's basically implying what? She must be the Messiah then. The only person you think you could possibly be if you think you have some new special moral rules that you're about to teach everyone. It's not true. But in the context of what she said there, she then says, see, apology is an option also for the wrongdoer. She's implying I'm the wrongdoer. She's not calling herself the wrongdoer, admitting, I could apologize too. You're right. That's an option for me. No, she's saying that's an option for you. Look how crazy that is, how twisted. It's automatic in her fucking verbiage and language. It's automatic in her brain. It's unbelievable to behold. It really is. To watch her mind work. It's like, obviously you are the wrongdoers, my son. That's the foregone conclusion here. I wake up in the morning, the first thing that's true is that my son is bad. My son's a wrongdoer, and then everything else comes after that. That follows that northern star, that guiding star. God, oh my God. So but that gives a hint to everybody in this world. What does this mean? That's the place, therefore, that's the juncture at which you have to work on the person. No, Mom, I am not the wrongdoer here, morally speaking. We run ChatGPT AI bot freaking computer programming to analyze the situation. Mind-blowing. Where it correctly indicates that Barbara's the wrongdoer of the situation and not the one in John's position here, not me. So, and then other people have also stated this. Anthony, he hasn't seen every last bit of it, but he's seen enough that he started to roll out his substantive positions. And if he had been around a little longer, he'd be just continuing to be even more and more fully leaning on that with more and more time and more exposure of the circumstances and the facts of the matter. Unbelievable. So, what do I write in response? What makes you think I don't already understand the essential things about your position? Except for the fact that, as smart Professor Sam Vaknin says, that, oh, no, I didn't include those videos here. I included those videos in a different playlist I was making with someone else. Funny. I have to start cross-referencing some of these playlists. Or maybe I should export that over. I'll consider it, maybe. He said that it's hard for even neurotypical people who are morally healthy and psychologically healthy to mentalize about what narcissists are doing and what their thought process is. See, at a basic sense, we understand what it is that their simplified thinking is, but also, he says it's one of the most amazing phenomena in psychology. Regular people get their minds blown when psychopaths, narcissists, and other cluster B types are acting, because it actually never fails to emotionally continue to surprise us and stun us. Like, what do you mean you could do that? What do you mean? It's not normal. It's not sensible. So, we continue anyway. I continue to ask her, why would you state apology is an option too to the wrongdoer? In your head, you see me as the wrongdoer, morally speaking? Are you sure this is correct and not foolish? We'll be tracking it all continually. I resume to state, for it doesn't appear that you are talking about yourself there as being the wrongdoer, which is very surprising and naive and kind of dumb. I wouldn't block her for that, but, that's her version of just stating her understanding in debate. She's coming close to the borderline, but she's staying respectful enough that I would say, well, this is just my mom talking dumb then. Okay, it's just the dumbness that it is. It's got to be disregarded, answered back, religiously answered back, meaning, ritualistically and consistently answered back. and just let it, nothing's going to teach her except her own consequences that come from her own mistakes. We proceed. I therefore state, I reject what you are saying as being both incorrect and disrespectful, and also foolish and baseless on its face. But we will see what your letters will substantiate. She's relying on those. We are about 5 days away from when they're due. We'll have the update when it's ready. I continue. That is all. This is all that is fit regarding these moral controversies between us to bring up here within the texting. If any more controverting or any more taking away of my peace or my dignity takes place here, I may see it as a serious transgression that, if it's bold and plain enough, would result in blocking. Better we keep the peace then, for sure. Isn't that nice? Regarding your questions about what referrals I am getting, don't worry, you're not my doctor or my specialist. Moreover, everyone falsely assumes it's a neurologist that I need to see. Actually, you'd be surprised, they don't help. Lastly, regarding what you state, on either of us seeing what needs to be done to improve the relationship, there's only one correct course of action for any such set of people, generally within our shoes and within our positions, who find themselves within a similar kind of set of problems and circumstances in which similar dynamics are playing out. There's only one correct course of action for such people. Atonement from the actual wrongdoer. The wrongdoer is decided based on the correct analysis of what both the facts are and what the correct applicable moral law is when applied to the facts. The problem that we've seemed to uncover with respect to my mom's position is that she gets both the facts themselves wrong as to what the facts actually are. There'll be conclusory statements she makes that are completely incorrect because they're not based on the right facts. So there's poor interpretation of facts to make incorrect conclusory statements where they're presented as facts masquerading, which is unbelievable. And you have a whole stack of that, so it's a slanted pyramid that isn't correct, it goes sideways. It's just incorrect stuff. So we have someone who isn't presenting the facts apparently correctly, who we've shown and exposed how she speaks to even hospitals and the things she says to doctors and staff over the phone about me that gets inserted into my medical record. How many of those statements and representations were completely false and baseless? How many statements that were made to other staff, EMT, police, completely false, not true? But from her position, she's the one who states, oh no, John, you're the one who's saying things not true. No, that's not the case. So number one, we have a whole fact problem. And number two, even if the facts were correct, we also seem to have a moral law problem. She doesn't actually understand what the moral law is. But, mind you, to admit, most people also don't have a near perfect understanding of that as well. There's more natural fluidity with that, but it's wrong, because there actually only is one correct moral law in essence in life. And most people don't recognize or understand it. They only half vaguely get some of it as some vague semblance, and then a lot of it is off. And they think that's the correct way. Silly stuff. So her moral law understanding is off, and her understanding of facts are off. So when you put those together, what do you have? Not reality. Well, we'll continue to deal with it. Ugh. And I proceed to say that I don't believe that there's something that you'll write or put out that will magically reveal some hidden knowledge or wisdom for everybody. If there were such a thing, wouldn't you have naturally put such a thing forward already? Clearly, you've had 1 year. We haven't seen it. It's not normal that you're purposely hiding something for a year. No, a person naturally says the thing plainly when it's relevant and quickly. So come on now. We continue on to say no. Even suggesting that there's some aspect of the situation that I'm somehow blind to or not getting is an insult to a man in my position, and it's coming from someone like you. Why? Well, first of all, I'm smarter than you when it comes to facts, accuracy, precision, and moral law, moral judgment, things like this. It's an insult. I continue to say, because it is you implying that you're somehow more in tune and also better analyzing or understanding a moral situation as the presumptive wrongdoer here, amazingly, than even one in my own position is. You understand? If you go to a man's world and you go to that man, men who are at the top now, who are, they're men, first of all, they're like over the age of 30, and they purposely spent multiple years with a high intellectual and moral and intuitive capacity unfurling and learning the deepest things. Imagine someone there who's sitting Torah, learning Torah all day long, learning the things, and then years later, one of his like younger sisters or some woman just comes around who doesn't study the Torah, doesn't understand anything, and she just says, "Oh no, let me tell you what you've got wrong. Let me correct you." And just from no basis, but she imagines she understands. It's such an insult. Stay in your domain. You don't even know what you're doing or talking about. That's why God put men to unfold and maintain this stuff, because our minds work correct for it, not yours. Duh. That's an insult. Why? Well, would you suggest to a banker and economist that you can point out and do a better job running the economy? Would you point out to a genetics scientist some better way to run his tests in his lab within his field? I'm telling you, the proper running of morality, while eventually it can be taught such that people get it at a common sense level, and then it clicks. And then it's easy, and then everyone can be that high expert, actually, unlike with some of those other positions. But again, they're specialists. They're superstars who have a gut way of being magically they're experts. They're the Michael Jordans of their field, but it's effortless for them. It becomes effortless for you when you have it right. We continue on. So to suggest such a thing, Barbara, it means you actually need to have mind-blowing competence at the thing itself, truly and overwhelmingly. The problem is you don't have the moral competence. You're in clear and plain moral default. You're wrongdoer here. So is doing all these things not being the wrongdoer? Of course. So going to the priest to tell him you know holiness better than him is the same as going to me and saying that you, the wrongdoer, actually has some big revelation. No such thing. Because this is, in essence, my whole expertise. Like I was saying earlier, imagine going to those people, those men who are the highest experts. That's what they dedicate all of the essence of their being towards. And then some woman will just walk in at some point in time in between when she's done in the middle from cooking and in the middle of her own profession, if she works somewhere else doing her own thing, which she supposedly does decently well or not. You don't know. Goes here, goes there, and she'll just come over to you, walk over to you, and clearly, just dismantle your whole understanding, right? As if she was better than you all along. So what are the men doing in this world then? If the man's highest expertise is lower than the woman's lowest expertise, we're not actually living in such a reality. But if we were, wouldn't men just go and kill themselves? If we're not the smartest ones around, what the hell are we doing? Evolutionarily speaking, we were relied upon to be the smartest ones around so that we run and protect the people that we care about and run everything properly so that life and society is protected and run correctly. We have the brains for it. Don't insult us. You're not that smart, but just to think you are is freaking the insult to us. Stop it. We continue. I'm honestly at the level where I can really, truly write books or do seminars and talks about this. All right? As a side note here, I get advertisements to me because, they're obviously listening through the microphones, it seems, or tracking what people write and coming up with stuff based on that. I get advertisements through the YouTube stating to me, they pick very select people out for this because it's directed advertising. It's at the most fit people within the population. They say, listen, I don't look up TEDx or anything like that really ever, but it says to me, almost ever, it says to me, listen, you can speak at TEDx. Here's how to arrange your thing so that you get your talk, your TEDx talk. Your whole career will explode in success after you have your TEDx talk like it did for us. And you can go make your talk. And I'm like, oh, they got me right. They pointed it out correct. Very good. All right, do you understand? It goes on. So I can write books and do seminars and talks about this. You, however, are, morally speaking, kind of retarded, as seems apparent from your actions and behavior, at the very least. So, please don't claim inherently insulting things to me then. Let your actions and the things that stem from you here do the actual work. And then let it be shown and exhibited, such work and such results, such that any and every objective person can clearly see what the deal is. Lastly, you too have even ability to make videos, to make screen recording of your own screen and record yourself like that. You can make a video of yourself as a live talk, any such thing, to upload onto your own YouTube channel. You can easily make one in 2 minutes. You can also easily comment into any video that I've made with either your written response to specific things I've said, or with a link that you post in there to direct anyone, including me, to your own YouTube video in connection with whatever I wrote that you're saying about next in your video. Where you explain things. Then, through that, it can be examined by me and then answered. So it's not really the case that, as she claimed or implicitly claimed before, the things are somehow one-sided. You go write the letters and even make the videos, however you want. And I'll gladly take that. I'll feature it within my own set of videos here and within this playlist so that it is clearly seen. Then we will see, once it is all worked out, once the answers are all worked through, what important matters and answers are left remaining and standing. Okay? That's it. We'll see what happens next.